They don't sit in corner offices. They don't wear tailored blazers. They don't hold MBAs or have LinkedIn profiles filled with endorsements. But if leadership is measured by resilience, adaptability, emotional intelligence, and decision-making under pressure, then Indian mothers are, without question, the greatest CEOs this world never hired. We talk about time management in boardrooms. They live it in kitchens, on train platforms, in hospital waiting rooms, and in the hush of late nights when the rest of the world sleeps. They wake before the sun, managing the impossible logistics of daily life. Tiffins packed, uniforms ironed, bills paid, appointments remembered, water filled, prayers whispered, and still, they somehow remember to send you your umbrella when it rains. Not because you asked, but because they just know. And they do this without applause, without weekends, without a salary, without even a thank you most days. In corporate language, they're the chief operating officers of the household, but they're more than that. They're also the chief financial officers, stretching budgets with the creativity of a startup founder in survival mode. They know the price of tomatoes in 3 markets. They'll budget for school fees, medicine, a cousin's wedding gift, and still save enough to hand you 500 rupees when you're broke and too proud to ask. They don't need Excel, they have instinct. They don't call it financial planning, they call it managing the house. They are masters of crisis management. When a child falls ill, the school calls, or a meal burns mid-preparation, they don't panic, they adapt. They problem solve on the fly. With one hand stirring the doll and the other texting the doctor, they calm the chaos, manage the mess, and keep moving. They don't call it multitasking, they call it life. While companies track KPIs, Indian mothers track everyone's emotions. They'll notice the silence in your voice, the sigh in your shoulders, the subtle "I'm fine" that really means "I'm not okay." And they respond not with spreadsheets, but with warm roti, with your favorite sabzi, with silence when you need it, and tough love when you don't. No MBA teaches empathy at scale. She lives it, every single day. In a world obsessed with productivity hacks, she is the original operating system. Before Google Calendar, there was her mind. Before Alexa reminders, there was her voice. Before Notion, Trello, and Slack, there was the kitchen chalkboard, her handwritten diary, her endless memory. She remembers your blood group, your cousin's birthday, your board exam date, and that one allergy you forget every time you eat out. She is the database, the emotional archive, the infrastructure. If startups are praised for doing more with less, then what do we say about a woman who raised a family in 1 bedroom, with 1 income, and 1,000 unspoken sacrifices? She never asked for equity, never demanded credit, but without her, the company, our lives, would collapse. She builds culture, not slideshows. She creates legacy, not logos. She teaches accountability without ever saying the word. Because if you lie, she knows. If you break trust, she remembers. And yet, she forgives. Over and over again. Not because she's weak, but because she's stronger than we'll ever understand. They say CEOs must make difficult decisions. She made them long ago, when she chose your education over her jewelry, when she stayed in a marriage that stifled her because you deserved stability, when she gave up dreams so you could chase yours, and yet she never called it sacrifice. She called it love. We call it emotional labor now. She just called it her duty, to stand behind you even when you pushed her away, to cheer for you even when you didn't say thank you, to protect your reputation more fiercely than her own pride. That's not just leadership, that's soul. When you fail, she is your HR department and therapist in one. She doesn't write you up. She picks you up. She reminds you of who you are, of what you're made of why you must try again. Not with pep talks, but with parathas, with stories, with eyes that say, I still believe in you. And through it all, she never asks for a raise, never takes a holiday, and never retires. Because for her, love is not a transaction. It's a commitment, lifelong, unbreakable, undeniable. And as the years pass, when her hands wrinkle, her back bends, and her steps slow, her leadership only grows more powerful. Because now she leads with legacy. You see it in how you parent, how you lead, how you love. That voice in your head, reminding you to pack an extra handkerchief. That sixth sense that wakes you up when your child is unwell. That instinct to nurture even when you're exhausted. That is her. Still leading, still guiding, still showing up. She may never be featured on a magazine cover. She may never be quoted in a business book. But make no mistake, she is the blueprint. So today, if we truly want to honor greatness, let us look beyond the glass buildings and stock tickers. Let us look home, at the woman who never asked to be called a leader, but led us through every storm. At the woman who held the family together, not with strategy decks, but with stubborn faith and sleepless nights. At the mother who turned a house into a haven, and a child into a human being. She is not a CEO on paper, but she's the reason you're here, with a backbone of steel and a heart that holds the world. To every Indian mother, you are not just the heart of the home. You are the mind, the soul, and the backbone. You are the invisible force holding generations upright. You are the first investor, the forever mentor, and the final fallback. You are the boss of all things that matter. And no title will ever be enough. But today, let us say it anyway. Thank you, Ma, for being the leader we didn't deserve, but always needed.